Hello friends, how are y'all doing today? Welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. My name is Laura and this is Laura Folly at Home. On my channel I do homemaking, a little bit of prepping, a little bit of organizing. You get a montage of different things, some cleaning, so forth and so on. But I'm doing a series on why prepare, about preparedness. And this is episode 2, and today we're going to talk about food storage. We're going to talk about why store food. We're going to talk about different ways to store food, and we're going to talk about, that's pretty much it. And I'm also going to demonstrate, I'm going to put together an example of, a couple of examples of how you can get that comfort of coffee in the event of an emergency. I'm a coffee drinker all day long. I kid you not, all day long. And if I couldn't have coffee in an emergency, Katie, bar the door because somebody is going to get hurt. Okay, so I'm going to demonstrate a couple of ways that you can make cowboy coffee. So I hope you come along. I hope you like it. If you would, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe, share this out, turn on that notification bell, because we're going to work on episode 2 about prepping. So come along with me. Okay, so let's dive into food storage. First, I want to say there are many, many ways that you can store your food that keeps them safe. There is pressure canning. There's, of course, freezing. There's dehydrating, there's freeze-dried foods, there's fermenting, okay? There are many ways, things that you can put them in. Of course, the pressure canning is the mason jars, but mason jars are also good for storing your dry goods because you can use either the oxygen absorbers or you can use the little vacuum sealer products to suck the oxygen out of there, which will keep them safe. There are airtight containers that you can buy that are clear or they're opaque. There are Ziploc bags. There's Mylar bags. There are the food saver bags, the vacuum sealer, where you put the food in the bags and then you suck the air out of it. So there's many ways to store it safely, to keep it longer on the shelf. But what do we store? All right. First, rule of thumb, only store what you eat. If you don't like green peas, don't buy them. You're not going to enjoy them. You're not going to eat them. And you're wasting your money. And somebody else could use them. Okay? So, canned goods. Your vegetables, your beans, your meats, soups, canned soups, vegetables, or the bean with bacon soup, the Campbell's, or tomato soup, comfort foods, things that you love. Okay, meats, tuna, chicken, I have some canned beef. There's all kinds of canned meats that you can buy. And Spam. I know you either love it or you hate it. I don't eat it a lot, but I will eat it. And if I'm hungry enough, so will Rocky. Okay? It's not something that I could just put him together a sandwich or fry up a piece of Spam and expect him to have it when there's other foods available. But if that's all there is, he says, yeah, I would eat it. But don't just serve it to me because that's what you're in the mood for. Okay? You can get corned beef, the shredded corned beef. So there's all kinds of proteins in the meats. And of course, beans are a really good source of protein. So you want to get some beans stocked up, and they're quick. And something like that you can eat directly out of the can if you don't have a heat source. Your vegetables, your corn, your green beans, your whatever. Whatever vegetables that you and your family love. All right, grains and staples. rice, pasta, oatmeal, quinoa, flour, sugar, and so forth. Okay? Your grains and pasta. Rice has a really, really long shelf life if it's stored properly. Cool, dark, and dry. Airtight. Okay? Your pasta has a long shelf life. Oats has a long shelf life. Sugar never goes bad, but you do not want to take the oxygen out of the sugar. It will harden. Flour is good for a while as long as it's preserved and kept safe from pests. Okay? So all those things that you can use to really make a meal go further. Dried foods. Lentils, beans, instant potatoes. I know they're not the favorite, but you know, if you make them right, they'll do in a pinch. Instant potato serves as a great thickener for soups and stews. Or for gravies. It doesn't change the taste, but you can add a little bit of that in there and it makes it a little bit thicker. So dried food. But again, if you don't eat it, don't buy it. Nuts and butters. And nut butters. Peanut butter is a good source of protein, though it doesn't have a super long shelf life, but it will last past its expiration date. You just stir it up a little bit. You just want to make sure that it's not rancid. And if it tastes rancid, throw it out. Okay? So, same with your nuts, your pecans, your cashews, your macadamia nuts, your almonds, your walnuts, whatever kind of nuts that you love, store them in the freezer. They'll last for a very, very long time in the freezer. They won't last a super long time in the pantry because of the oils in it, and oils do tend to go rancid. But they will last for a year or so, okay? Powdered milk or shelf-stable dairy. Powdered milk is good in a pinch. It's good to use in recipes. It's good to, what else can you, thickens, you know, like your cream gravies and stuff like that. And if you don't like the powdered milk, kind of wean yourself. Make it properly, make sure it's cold, and start mixing it with your whole milk or your milk that you buy at the grocery store and introducing it in there. So you got, 3/4 of a gallon, put that 1/4 to fill that gallon up. And then when you get down to half a gallon, mix half a gallon of your instant milk and pour it in there, bring it back up to a gallon, and so forth and so on. And that way you are adjusting your taste palette to the instant milk or the dry milk. All right, ready to eat meals. Okay, there are MREs. I don't have MREs on hand, but you want to have on hand things for snacks, like granola bars. You can have like another good snack to have around is beef jerky. There's freeze-dried meals, which now don't forget your coffee, your comfort foods, coffee. And in fact, I got a little clip here for you. I'm going to add it in of me making some cowboy coffee, of how I get my coffee in the event of emergency. And trust me, I've had a few. All right. Okay, so let's make some cowboy coffee. I am going off of the premise that you have a way of heating water. No electricity. Okay? So I'm going off the idea that you either have a kettle or a gas stove or a gas Coleman stove that's propane operated, something along those lines. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to bring a pot of water to boil, almost to boil. I want it really hot, okay? And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get my little pot. All right, that's the carafe. And my little cone filter. And I'm going to make sure it's secure on there. Now, I happen to have one of these mesh cone filters. But if you don't have one of these, then it's okay to use one of those cone paper filters. All right. So I'm just going to set that in there. This thing doesn't fit real well. It tends to want to leak. It doesn't fit in there real good. So I want to make sure that it's nice and level. All right. And then I'm going to grab my coffee grounds, my regular coffee grounds. And I'm a Folgers girl, plain coffee. I don't do the frou-frou coffee. I drink my coffee black. And I'm going to put a good tablespoon or so in there. I put a good heaping one of these when I make regular coffee. So I'm just going to put that in there. And then I'm waiting for my water to get good and hot. Now I could make real cowboy coffee and pour my grounds in the water and let them steep in the water as it's warming up, and then pour it through the strainer. Or just let it settle and pour it slowly and hope you don't get a mouthful of grounds, because isn't that the most horrible thing in the world when you take a sip of coffee and it's a mouthful of grounds? Ugh, that'll ruin your day. But I'm going to do it this way. Okay, so my water is starting to bubble. Now I'm going to use a little cup. And I'm going to slowly pour this over my coffee. If I pour too much, my grounds are going to come all the way up the sides, and it's a little bit harder. So, and I want to make sure and get the grounds off the sides. I'm going to let that drain a little bit. And when you're desperate for coffee, you know, you're thinking, oh my gosh, this is tedious. And it is. But when you don't have the convenience of brewing a pot of coffee, or using your Keurig K-Cups, or, you know, all the conveniences that we're used to, this is going to be so worth it in an emergency. If coffee is your jam. Coffee's my jam, y'all. Like I said, if I don't have coffee and there's a whole lot of stuff going on and I don't have coffee, someone's going to get hurt. All right? Because I drink coffee all day long. Okay? And just a few more of these. See, I'm not even getting a full measuring cup anymore. I mean, measuring spoon, not a measuring spoon, but okay. Okay. So, that stops dripping. I'm going to remove my carafe that has the filter in it. And just like that, where's my handle? I have a cup of coffee. And I can pour it into my cup. And you can make it as strong or as weak as you want it. And there you have it, friends. How to make coffee in an emergency without electricity. So your chocolate for hot cocoa, or use cocoa or cold chocolate or whatever to mix with your instant milk. Hides that instant flavor at all. All right? So coffee, tea, whatever your crutch is, just comfort food. All right? Don't forget your water. All right? You got plenty of water. You need to have at least a gallon a day for everybody in the household for however many days you're planning for. Okay? And so there's a good list of things to start with. Now, how do you store it? Cool, dark, and dry. All right? Airtight containers. Rotate your stock. FIFO. First in, first out. Okay? Build up slowly. And when you buy a couple of new cans of green beans, like for instance, you go grocery shopping just this week, you don't have a back stock of stuff. If you buy one can, if your family eats one can of green beans a week, buy two. All right? Buy one for now, one to store. Next week when you do your grocery shopping, if it's corn, buy one, buy two. Okay? And that way you have one back stock. Replenish it. Use that green bean and rotate it back. Okay? Eventually you're going to build things up. So you want airtight containers. All right? That's the glass jars, the food grade buckets, vacuum sealed bags, Ziploc bags. They don't last a real long time, but they are good for short time. I already said rotate. Label it. You think, okay, yeah, I'm going to know exactly what that is when I put it in the freezer. Been there, done that. Got the t-shirt, took it out, thought it was something else. And boy, was I surprised when it wasn't. Okay? Label it. Magic marker. Keep the pests out. Airtight, sealed, off the floor, and check it regularly for pests. Your flour, put it in the freezer for a couple of days. That will kill any of them that's in there. And then you put it in airtight container. All right. Just a little bonus. Don't forget a can opener. We're under the impression that we don't have electricity. A storm has come through and it's knocked the electricity out. Been there, done that. Got the t-shirt. Manual can opener. Okay? And don't forget special diets. If someone in your family is gluten-free or vegan or they have allergies, pay attention to that when you're getting your food storage. Okay? And last but not least, occasionally cook. Well, not occasionally. You're going to rotate your stock. You're not going to buy this stuff just to have it sitting on the counter. You're going to rotate it. First in, first out. So cook it. Taste it. If you put a meal together in a jar and your family doesn't like it, don't put that together again. Okay? Test it. So that's the food storage. All right? So that's episode 2. Let me see what our third episode is. Our third episode is about food staples. Why keep the food staples? All right? So that's going to be episode 3 coming up next week. So enjoy the cowboy coffee, or the way I make coffee when I don't have electricity. Little video. And if you would, give me that thumbs up. Like this, please. Share it. Turn on that notification bell. And please subscribe to my channel. I have a lot of good content coming up. Some stuff you may have heard before. Some of it you may have not. Some of it you may have not even thought of. You may already be a mini prepper. That's what I call myself, a mini prepper. But anyway, I'm Laura. Thank you for watching. And I will see you on the next video. Bye-bye.